sound of raw, unrestrained grief shattered the sterile calm of Incheon International Airport, but its source was the most bewildering part of the unfolding drama. Kim Seokjin, the eldest and often most composed member of the global phenomenon BTS, was weeping with an intensity that stunned onlookers into silence. What could possibly provoke such a devastating public display of emotion from the star known for his unflappable humor and worldwide handsome confidence? The scene became infinitely more complex as the subjects of his anguish, fellow members Jungkook and J-Hope, turned with pained expressions before being irrevocably guided toward their departure gate for a flight to the United States. The incident, captured in a flurry of unauthorized flashes and hushed whispers, has ignited a firestorm of questions, leaving a global fandom in a state of profound shock and anxiety. What truly happened in those fraught moments, and why did a simple departure feel like a catastrophic final farewell? The air within the terminal, typically buzzing with the excitement of travel, had grown heavy, thick with an unspoken tension. This was no ordinary celebrity send-off. The typical smiles and waves for the cameras were absent, replaced by a palpable atmosphere of crisis. Jin's breakdown was not a quiet, dignified shed of tears. It was a visceral, soul-shaking sob that seemed torn from the depths of his being. His shoulders shook, his face, usually a mask of playful charm, was crumpled in what could only be described as pure anguish. Security personnel, accustomed to managing chaotic crowds, seemed momentarily paralyzed, their focus shifting from controlling fans to containing an unprecedented emotional explosion from one of the world's most recognizable figures. Why was Jin so utterly inconsolable? What knowledge did he possess that made the departure of his two younger brothers an event worthy of such profound despair? This was not the sadness of a temporary goodbye. It had the harrowing finality of a permanent schism. Adding to the disquieting tableau were the reactions of Jungkook and J-Hope themselves. J-Hope, the group's radiant sunshine, appeared deeply distressed, his own bright demeanor eclipsed by a shadow of concern and helplessness. He was seen reaching out a hand toward Jin, a gesture of comfort that was cut short by the necessity of their forward momentum. Jungkook, the golden magne, repeatedly glanced back, his youthful face a canvas of conflict, a mixture of sorrow for his young state and a grim resolution to proceed. Their departure was not one of excitement for a new project, but seemed to be an act carried out under duress, a painful necessity. This raises the most disturbing question of all. Were they leaving against Jin's desperate, unspoken wishes? The entire interaction felt less like a planned trip and more like a sudden, forced separation, leaving observers to wonder if this was an abrupt decision that had fractured the group's legendary unity. The speculation has since reached a fever pitch, tearing through the global ARMY community with the force of a shockwave. The questions are as numerous as they are unsettling. Was Jin's shattered expression a harbinger of a greater problem simmering beneath the surface of BTS's polished public image? For years, their bond has been presented as their greatest strength, an unbreakable brotherhood that has weathered the storms of immense fame. To witness it apparently splintering so dramatically and so publicly has sent a chill through the hearts of millions. Was this a sign of internal conflict so severe that it could no longer be contained behind the closed doors of their agency, HYB? The lack of any immediate, clarifying context from official channels has only deepened the mystery, creating a vacuum that is being filled with the most alarming theories. Observers are now dissecting every frame of the available footage, every pained expression, searching for clues to this horrifying puzzle. The purpose of Jungkook and J-Hope's trip to the United States itself is now shrouded in suspicion. While international schedules are routine, the context of this particular departure feels anything but. Why were they traveling without Jin or the other members for that matter? If it were for a collaborative project, the atmosphere would likely be one of professional anticipation. Instead, the mood was funereal. This has led to intense scrutiny over what mission could be so critical that it required the tearing apart of the group's emotional core. Is there a pressure, a demand from an external party, or an internal crisis that has forced this specific configuration of members to travel under such distressing circumstances? Jin's tears suggest he knows the reason, and that the reason is devastating. Is he hiding a piece of information from the public, a truth so painful that its only expression is in a complete emotional collapse? The incident forces a reevaluation of everything the public thought they knew about the inner workings of this global powerhouse. The seamless unity, the infectious camaraderie, the image of 7 men moving as one cohesive unit, all of it has been called into question by one man's uncontrollable sorrow. The specter of discord now hangs over the group's future. The silence from the members who remained in Korea is equally deafening. Every passing hour without an explanation amplifies the fear that this was not merely a sensitive farewell between friends. It felt like an ending. The image of Jin, broken and weeping in the cold, impersonal expanse of an airport, has become a symbol of a deep and terrifying uncertainty. As Jungkook and J-Hope's plane crossed oceans, it left behind not just a single distraught bandmate, but a world of fans grappling with a single, chilling question. Was this the heartbreaking emotional toll of a temporary separation, or were we all witnesses to the first visible crack in the very foundation of the world's biggest band? The answer remains elusive, hidden behind a wall of corporate silence and the memory of a superstar's tears. Adding to the chilling atmosphere is the profound silence from all other channels. In the absence of any explanation, the most unsettling theories are allowed to fester. Jin's tears are being interpreted not just as sadness, but as a desperate signal of a truth he cannot speak. Is he burdened with knowledge of a professional or personal crisis so significant that it threatens the future of the group? His inconsolable state suggests he is mourning more than a temporary distance. He seemed to be mourning a fundamental loss. The image of the usually stoic eldest member becoming so completely undone has become a terrifying symbol of a deep and hidden turmoil. As the plane carrying Jungkook and J-Hope vanished into the sky, it left more than a heartbroken Jin on the tarmac. It left a world of devoted fans suspended in an agony of uncertainty, haunted by the image of his tears and a terrifying, singular question. Was this the overwhelming emotional price of a difficult but necessary journey, or were we all involuntary witnesses to the very public beginning of the end? Well-being is being safeguarded. Jin's reaction adds another layer of complexity. Known for his protective nature, especially toward Jungkook, his visible distress suggests that this is not a routine departure. Reports indicate that Jin attempted to contact key personnel shortly after the news broke and was seen leaving a private meeting in Seoul with a tense expression. What was discussed in that meeting? Was Jin trying to intervene? And if so, was he too late? The implications of this event extend beyond fandom. They touch on broader issues of artist welfare, corporate responsibility, and the ethics of celebrity culture. If Jungkook is being compelled to perform while unwell, it raises serious questions about the mechanisms that govern the entertainment industry. Who decides when an artist is fit to work? And what happens when those decisions conflict with the artist's health? There is also the question of timing. Why now? Why just days before the Calvin Klein event? Was this planned in advance, or was it a last-minute decision triggered by unseen pressures? The precision of the departure, down to the minute, suggests a level of orchestration that contradicts the narrative of spontaneity. Someone knew this was going to happen.